August. I hope you're having yourselves a wonderful morning. My name is Anthony Sebale, and you are watching Financial Markets, where we talk about the stock markets, we talk about debt markets, commodity markets, and factors surrounding these markets. And of course, here on the program, we mainly, of course, push for investments that are here locally. And of course, we look at companies that are listed on the stock exchanges here in Uganda, on the stock exchanges in other East African bourses, like, for example, the Nairobi Securities Exchange, the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange, Rwanda Stock Exchange, and the like. And our main goal is to have you, a normal person, a common person, a trader, an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, or any other person, individual, getting to invest in these financial markets. My name is Anthony, and of course today, very full of action show that we have ahead of us, as we of course look at the stock market's closure last Friday, as of course we monitor and track some of the indices, as well as the market performers, the top market performers and the bottom market performers. If it's your first time here, you're very welcome. You can follow our show here at, or you can actually watch us live on GoTV channel 394, as well as on our YouTube live stream, that is at Smart24 Live. And of course, we drive your business, and 24/7, we mean business. And of course, we're driving businesses here in Uganda and across East Africa, and the leading business channel, of course, in East Africa. And of course, you have to stay tuned for all your latest business info and what you need to know and what's trending in the business world. Welcome once again. It's the first day of the month of August. And of course, as we begin a new month, we begin a new season. And as financial markets here, it's a very critical moment, because every time we begin a new month, we begin a new year, it's a new beginning for companies. It's a way of monitoring companies and seeing how have companies performed on the stock market since the year began to where we are right now. And definitely this comes to, of course, evaluating companies based on several calculations of year-to-date performances. We look at their monthly performances, who has been the top performer for the month of July, who has the most traded stock, and then who has lost most. Because information, the more you learn, the more you have information concerning the markets, the better your investments will be, the higher probably your return, and the more wiser you're going to actually get while investing on the stock market. And this information, of course, here on the show we share, is courtesy of the Uganda Securities Exchange, the exchange that was mandated by the government of Uganda to carry out the trade of securities or instruments that include stocks. They include, for example, the treasury bonds and bills. Those are the debt instruments, and any other products that could be coming up in the world of financial markets. They are the people to actually approach, and the data we share is courtesy of that particular organization. And there are partners here, and they say you can now dial *165# using your MTN line to buy shares, to be able to, open an SCD account. Because, as you know, the process of buying shares or buying stock is, first of all, it starts with opening an SCD account, a Securities Central Depository account. Now, last week, if you caught the show, we talked in depth about the SCD account. We were talking to Mr. Bob Musinguzi, who is the manager of registry at the Uganda Securities Exchange. As an investor, you cannot keep shares in the bank, you cannot keep shares on mobile money, and you cannot keep shares anywhere else apart from the SCD account, and that is the Securities Central Depository account. And we talked about how this account is opened and how easily and has tried to make this account. You can now, simply by dialing *165#, be able to open this particular account. And when you do, of course, before you do, they will ask for your personal identification data. that is including your national identification number, or what is called a NIN number for your identity card, or your passport identification number. That is what, of course, the number that comes with your passport if you're a foreigner. And these details will be fed into the database of the Uganda Securities Exchange. And of course, you will be able to start trading while you deposit on your account. Interestingly, to open this account, it's absolutely free of charge. There's no charge at all. You don't have to pay bank charges. You don't have to pay maybe account charges. There are no monthly charges. So meaning even if you don't have any amount of money on you, you can open the account, and then when you get the money, probably you can start trading. You remember, you have to dial *165# and then choose option number 6, that is financial services, and then follow it with option number 5, the Uganda Securities Exchange, and then be able to access these accounts. You can also visit www.use.org.ug for more, but they have what they call an easy portal there as well online. So if you're online and you would also want to open yourself an SCD account, you can go to www.ugandasecuritiesexchange.org.ug and go to easy portal. There you will be able to feed in information as regards your personal data, and then you will be able to open yourself an account. Warm welcome once again. We are going to analyze the market performance as per closing the markets on Friday. Remember, the markets in Uganda definitely open at exactly 9 a.m. every single weekday from Monday to Friday, and they close at 1 p.m. on these particular days. And we track the market performances based on the pricings. Of course, that's the number one performance indicator. Has the price gone up? Has the price gone down? Why this is important? Again, this comes back to you as an investor, because as an investor in the stock market, you're buying shares into companies. You're buying units of ownership into a company, and these units of ownership come at a price. If this particular price is going up, it's an indicator that your value as a shareholder is increasing, because the price with which you bought the stock has actually increased, meaning whenever you want to sell, you will be able to sell at a particularly higher price, and that means you're gaining value on your stock. Particularly, I can pull out the example, for example, of the US markets. Over the weekend, of course, the US markets last month have seen the best month since 2000, since the year 2000. We've seen very many companies appreciate, getting to add value to their shareholders. Looking at, for example, they have very famous futures there that they invest in, especially the indices, the S&P 500, looking at the top 500 companies in the United States. You have the Dow Jones futures. You also have the composite futures, and so on. And all these futures have been seen moving into the positive direction, despite the fact that, of course, the United States is anticipating highly a recession, which has been a fear for many people in the United States, but also all over the world, because we're talking about the strongest economy in the world, the United States economy. And whatever harms that economy definitely harms the entire world, because they're the leading manufacturers. They have the leading industries, for example, tech companies like Google. You have companies like Apple that really produce products that are used worldwide. And all these companies, you cannot grow to become an Apple company in, for example, United States without being listed on the New York Stock Exchange. Definitely that won't happen, because this is the way companies have been able to raise capital, cheap capital, and also been able to give the public chance to take part in the leadership, to take part in the ownership, sorry, not leadership, of these companies. And so we are seeing that the last month has been so green for these markets that, of course, the investors' fears have been allayed. The investors' fears, of course, of the recession, of the looming recession that, of course, was so highly anticipated in the first place. As, of course, we saw various people like Putin and so on come on to, of course, shaking the economies by starting wars in Ukraine and so on, and of course disruptions of logistics supply. You're seeing also pandemic shocks, COVID-19 economic pandemic shocks also there, and generally the economy was seen struggling. The GDP of the United States was seen struggling for quite some time. But regardless of all that turmoil economically, regardless of the beleaguered economy that of course was being seen in sight, we are seeing that the stock markets in the United States really performed so well over the last month that this has been called the best performance of the stock markets since the year 2000, meaning in 22 years, in such a good market as it is. Of course, there are so many challenges still surrounding the economy, but at least the stock markets have indicated a positive performance. And when it comes to the United States economy, the stock markets are almost number one indicator of what's happening in the economy, and some of the things that drive the growth of these economies is their stock markets, the strength of their stock markets, and this is what we are seeing in the United States. But also back here at home, we can see our stock markets last Friday closing the markets with, of course, an increase in our all-share index. Our all-share index went up with several gainers, of course, which we are going to share with you on the market. And this definitely could have been attributed to increase in trading. People are beginning to realize how actually important it is to start trading on the stock market. And one thing that can drive growth on the stock market is activity. And activity comes when you and I decide that, you know what, this 20,000, I'm not going to drink it this weekend. I'm actually not going to go for a concert. I'm going to go and buy shares in Stanbic Bank. And shares in Stanbic Bank are as low as 21 shillings. So like at 20,000, I can get almost 1,000 shares at 20 shillings each share. Meaning the next time I get another 20,000, I can add on those shares, or I can even decide to buy in other companies. And this money that you're keeping in there keeps on growing with time, because the capital markets grow. Definitely they are not static. They're either growing or they are receding a little bit. And this recession doesn't last sometimes. It's just for a period of time, and before you know it, the stocks that were really doing bad have gone to the positive, and those that were really doing very good have gone to the negative. This is how the stock market works really. You have a fair share of seeing the positive and the negative side of it, and it's a risky business. Yes, it is. But as I always mention, there's no business here that is not risky. If you think it's a risk-free business, you start it and find out. You'll find that it's actually much more riskier than you had anticipated. And these markets definitely give you an opportunity to be able to buy stock into these companies and, of course, raise patient capital for the companies, but also to gain value as an individual. You're valued by how many assets you have, and being able to buy stock is counted as an asset. It is something that people can count on using, for example, these securities or these as collateral for getting loans, for getting mortgage loans to construct a home for yourself. For getting, for example, you've seen people also use them to get salary loans and so on. And so these securities here in Uganda, securities across the world, are assets. They're worthy assets to invest in, and assets that can keep value for your money, and of course maintain a very vibrant economy as a whole for the nation. We are going to first take a look at some of the gainers here on the stock market. Of course, yesterday's stock market, Friday, because we don't have stock markets open on the weekend. They close on Friday, and we're analyzing those markets as per their close on Friday. We're seeing that Centum came in as a gainer, the top gainer, gaining by 8.49 Ugandan shillings. And then East African Breweries Limited also came in as a gainer. We're seeing that most of these cross-listed stocks from Nairobi gained by very big margins, and that led to the movement of the prices there. even 5% after this 38.49 gain. And then after, of course, when you see East African breweries there at 4,900, almost reaching 5,000, that is an 8.19% daily gain just last Friday. And meaning this stock went up particularly by over 375.13 shillings. Meaning if you bought this stock earlier, maybe the day before, you would be making a profit of 375 on every share after trading on the stock market. That is if you find a buyer willing to buy at that particular price as well. Then we look at Equity Bank Limited. Equity Bank Limited came in with a gain also of 79.92 Ugandan shillings at 1,564.13, and that was a 5.38% gain there. And then KCB Bank at a 0.88%, while NMG, that is Nation Media Group, came in at a gain of 0.53%. We're going to analyze more of this talk here on the show very shortly, of course, after a very quick break. But remember also to follow us on our social media and leave a comment. What do you think about these top gainers? Are they really benefiting our stock market here in Uganda? Are we supposed to actually be excited over these gaining stocks? And what do you think also about the United States Stock Exchange? And of course, looking at New York Stock Exchange as their principal stock exchange. What do you think this growth in the stock market really means? We're going to take a quick break and we return shortly.